Hey guys, what's up? Just decided to make a little video here on the Path of Exile nerfs. Um, Path of nerfs, as they stated. Um, this isn't the first time that a video game company's nerfed something. Some people in this thread are getting all bent out of shape, so I thought I'd give my take on some of the stuff. All in all, it's not really bad, and we haven't seen the buffs yet. Maybe I'll make, depending on what the buffs are, in tomorrow's patch note releases, maybe I'll do a small video on the patch note release as well. But, so the first big one, this I think is probably one of the biggest things, is Volpact. Volpact really, I think, needed a nerf. It just made it to where you didn't have to invest too much in life leech to really get a good character going. You got a little bit of life leech and bam, like you just go out and kill stuff and get instantly healed and you don't have to worry about it. On the flip side of that, some newer players that I've seen try to play a Volpact build that didn't really understand the mechanics as much still had some problems running Volpact. They'd get hit by some poison or something and just bam, like die and be like, oh, why'd I die? Like, stuff like that would never kill me without Volpact because they didn't realize that, well, you have no regeneration, you have no life regen, so you do have to watch some things, but as long as you're attacking stuff and flying through the content, you really didn't have to worry too much about anything. As long as you were hitting stuff, you were staying alive. But that being said, I definitely like this Volpact nerf. It's just been a big thing for too long that it's like it almost made Volpact like a staple of most builds. Like, oh, just go Volpact. On the side of nerfs, though, I do feel a lot of times I feel it's better to make other builds better rather than nerf builds. Kind of like what D3 is doing or done this season with their builds. Instead of nerfing the top builds, they took a bunch of the less significant builds and buffed them up and brought them more in line to where, there were more builds viable for in-game, for easier in-game play, I should say. Because, I mean, let's face it, games like these, like Path of Exile, D3, they're still games where you can still play the way you want to play. If you want to come up with some crazy build, then whatever. Like, you can literally do almost anything, but if you want something for a purpose to push in-game, to reach the top of the leaderboards, to kill the Shaper, a lot of times you have to be filtered into some of these meta builds, and I think that making other classes more powerful is better than nerfing what you have. But some of the stuff that's being nerfed here is just like insanely powerful, and most of the nerfs here aren't really going to hurt much. So next we have Haziri's Acuity. Nothing big here, you just get it from Critical Strike. Now you basically have Volpact if you've performed Critical Strike recently. So yeah, the next kind of big one, we haven't seen the numbers yet, but Mind Over Matter, the mana bonuses granted by the passive skills behind the keystone have been reduced. So basically, I've played a few Mind Over Matter builds, and it's pretty good. Like, you get a ton of mana, and, as long as you have a mana pool, you've got some nice, basically 30% damage reduction, in a sense. So yeah, right now they give 12%, 12%, and 100 max mana, and 40% increased maximum mana. I think that that's probably going to go down to maybe 20%. These they might leave alone. Maybe they'll make them like 6%ers. I really don't think these are the big issue. It's probably that 40%, so maybe they'll reduce that to like 20 or 15, I don't know. And maybe a little less to maximum mana, although I would like to see the flat max mana stay. And it just said the mana bonuses granted by the passive skills. The mana granted was very high, especially at lower levels. Yeah, I don't know, probably a half cut or so. But, you know, a lot of people, some people are complaining about this. I don't think it's too big of a deal, as it's not too hard to get mana, to get a little more mana on gear and on other passives. You maybe just have to sacrifice a tiny bit of damage, which on a lot of Mind Over Matter builds, like for instance Spectre builds, and I think my Scorching Ray Inquisitor went Mind Over Matter, and it's so overpowered that, you know, you could take a little bit of DPS crease to get a little more survivability, and I think you'll be fine. But it does depend, you know, on how far they go with these nodes. It basically means like you're not going to be able just to take this chunk and then get very little on anything else to make it matter. So you're going to have to spend a little more in rolling gear. And I think this is my Frostblades character actually with Volpact. I was thinking about taking Volpact off and just seeing. I'm pretty sure I played for a long time without Volpact and had no trouble on this character. Of course, I am in softcore, so if I die, it's not a huge thing. I don't really have time these days to play. Well, it's not that I don't have the time. My internet sucks, so it's hard for me to play hardcore these days. I used to play nothing but hardcore. I have a couple characters left that I kept from way back in the day, but like this build here is a RF and Scorching Ray character, and yeah, you can see I got Mind Over Matter, and you can see a lot of the gear I have has bam, maximum mana, maximum mana. That doesn't have it, you know, maximum mana, maximum mana. You know, just to increase my mana pool by a bunch more. So you're probably going to have to focus on that a little bit more, as opposed to, and I do have a Seething Flask, I think, for a couple mana flasks for certain occasions. I haven't played this character much, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, the Mind Over Matter nerf. It's just going to make it a little different way to play, I guess. What the heck, now I can't get out of Path of Exile. Okay. Alright, so the next one is Vulnerability, Despair, and Wither. So Vulnerability is now going to be a strength gem, which I think is great. I think Vulnerability should be a strength gem. So that's, you know, nothing too crazy. This new Despair will then place the existing Vulnerability. It reduces Chaos Resist, increases damage over time taken, grants added Chaos damage to hits against cursed enemies. That's not too bad. Kind of replacing Vulnerability for just something else and making Vulnerability more strength gem. This will actually help with some of the other curses, and nerfed Wither a little bit, 15 down from 20, slightly lower damage taken effect per stack, 6% per stack down from 7%. I don't think this is going to be a huge thing. The thing I'm really most concerned about out of all of this is the Witchfire Brew now applies Despair. I think that's a little crazy, but, you know, I guess we'll see. Especially, like, we haven't seen the buffs that are coming tomorrow either. That's another thing you have to take in when seeing all this stuff, even if you really hate the Volpact, like it killed your build, whatever. I really like the Volpact. I'm kind of on the fence over Mind Over Matter, but I don't think it's going to be a huge deal, and I'm not mad or anything I think it'll be fine. I just like playing the game, and to be honest, I like more melee type play anyway, so I don't hardly ever use Mind Over Matter, but I probably will be playing some Spectres in the new Abyss League, so we'll see how it works out. Dark Pact is huge. Um, Dark Pact was super OP. Like, I think everybody saw Dark Pact nerf coming. Um, the Barrage change is pretty interesting. Instead of getting from your in-game Labyrinth, instead of getting the +2 additional projectiles, now you get +1. I don't play bow builds too much, so I don't think this will affect me. But part of the reason I don't play bow builds anymore is because they're not as great as they used to be, I feel. Like, the clearing is amazing. Like, you can clear maps like crazy, but the single target's a little bit bad. I think what they need to do is add a really good single target damage to bow instead of what we have now. But it's kinda just going to make helms now that have this +2 skill, because they're not taking it off of existing items. Existing helm and enchantments are unmodified, so those are going to be, if you have one of those, you're going to be in money. I think people will pay obscene amounts for that now. But I still don't think it's going to be that huge of a thing. One less projectile. And maybe that's just where I haven't played bow builds for a long time, but I don't think it's anything game killing. The Doom Fletch and Doom Prison stuff. I mean, Doom Fletch is just a good bow, period, and it's still going to be a good bow with all the nerfs. So, again, it's one of those things that I get why they're nerfing it, and the nerf probably isn't going to hurt the bow and stuff that much. But I think what they need to do instead is come out with better bows. Because right now, other bows are junk, to be honest. I mean, that's my opinion anyway. But yeah, most of the nerfs here I don't think are going to kill any builds. I think the Doom Fletch will still, like, I even think they said it. Yeah, it's still likely the best bow. Doom Fletch Prism was providing some of the highest damage numbers of any bow in the game, so it has been reduced. It's likely still the best bow. Yeah, it probably will still be the best bow in the game. The Queen of the Forest, decrease the invasion rating a little bit, and the movement speed bonus this item can provide has been capped at 100% for all versions. So basically what people were doing was just getting basically insane movement speed. And, I understand that nerf. Having items like this can break the game. So toning them back a little bit is good. And it's still going to be something that you can probably still get really good movement speed out of. So I don't think the Queen of the Forest is going to be too broken. But here's the big one that I don't really understand a whole lot. So, maximum fire resist granted from the Rise of the Phoenix is going to be cut down to 5% from 8%. It's going to also increase the life regen increase to 15 to 20 per second. And the new versions are also going to grant life, which I think is kind of good, putting life on. But I don't really understand as much about that 3% takedown. As I said, apparently I've been logged out, probably from my bad internet. Like I said, I've been playing this character, and I have a Rise of the Phoenix right now. And to be honest, before I put on the Rise of the Phoenix, I really didn't see much of a like much hurt like using it. You know, I don't even have my Purity of Fire isn't even a plus 21 or a 21 level Purity of Fire. It's not even level 20 yet. Of course, you know, I'm not pushing in-game maps either with this character. I was thinking about playing a pure RF build in the Abyss League. That's why I made this character, just to kind of. I actually saw Ziggy D make this build guide, and I thought, you know what, that looks fun. I'm gonna play this build, and maybe it'll get me ready for next league, so that I can actually play a pure RF build, because I've never played pure RF before, and it's something I've been wanting to do. But I just don't think that that 3% was game breaking or build breaking. It just makes it a little more pain in the butt to get the extra 3% now. You're pretty much going to have to get level 1 Purity of Fire, which I think a lot of people still did anyway. And make sure you get your nodes, and you're going to probably take a little bit more damage, but I don't think it's going to be enough damage to really amount to anything. I mean, I already have insane life regen on this character anyway, so I don't think it's anything that's going to break the game, so to speak. Losing that extra 3%, it's not the end of the world. To lose that, let's see if I can get hit here, and I'll show you how much, if I can quit from lagging. So yeah, you can see like how insane my life regen is. And even when I put on, you know, Purity of Fire, well, or not Purity of Fire, but RF, I guess I kill stuff too fast to really see what, like I'm not even using Scorching Ray. So I mean, I guess, I don't know. Builds like this, the reason I like playing this build is because it had the Scorching Ray with it. And that's kind of why I haven't played an RF build, because I think it's maybe a bit too mindless. You know, you just shield charge around and everything dies. I like playing stuff that's a little more engaging, but I do want to try it out still. Even with the nerf, we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Took that guy a little bit to die, but yeah. Oh, wow, I don't have a portal scroll, rip. But yeah, it's not a, I don't think that 3% really makes a huge difference one way or the other. So I guess it's just one of the nerfs that I don't fully understand where they're coming from doing that nerf. And I also at the same time don't understand people that are getting mad about this nerf, because I don't think it's going to be that hard to recover from a 3% loss on your max fire resist. Plus we're getting some life and stuff as well, which is going to just help. I mean, that's going to help get your regen up even more. So the other thing that's real controversial is the experience gain. Now, if anybody here has played Diablo 2, you know that getting from level 99 to 100 can take weeks, even for somebody no life in the game. Currently, some of the top players right now are getting to level 100 within like 2 to 3 days. Like if you watch, you know, I like watching like Zizaran and Ziggy D, people like those, watching Zizaran in the couple 10-day events, and Noogie and those guys. You know, a lot of those guys get level 100s in the first few days, and then they make another character and get that to level 100 to get more demigods, which that's fine by me. I have no want to really push leaderboards these days. Maybe if I had a better internet connection to where I could play hardcore, maybe I would, but playing softcore doesn't really feel that competitive to me. And plus I don't want to spend, you know, 20 or 30 hours a day and then sleep 4 hours, and then do another 20 to 30 hour day, and then sleep 4 hours in order to push leaderboards. I just don't want to do that. But the experience gain, I still don't understand why they're doing it. They say they don't want the top players to get to level 100 faster, but at the same time, I don't think that much more time is going to need to be invested, that it's going to really matter to them, especially in like a league. Maybe in like a week-long race or a 10-day race, maybe it would make a little more difference. But in something like a league, like they're going to be playing tons of hours anyway. So you've maybe extended an extra day that they're going to have to grind to get to level 100. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the people that hardly ever get a level 100 character. Those are the people that you're really hurting, right? If somebody doesn't have, if somebody plays 6 months and doesn't get a level 100 character, either they haven't played that much, or they've made multiple characters and not really cared. But the people that really want to push to get to level 100, they just can't play at a higher level. They can't play like 15, 20 hours a day. It kind of hurts them a little more. I don't know. Again, I don't have a huge problem with this. It's been quite some time since I've got a level 100 character. And a matter of fact, as you can see, I don't even have a level 100 character now. That character, the couple of level 100s I had died off a while ago in hardcore. And used to, when I played hardcore, when a character would die in hardcore, I would just delete it. I wouldn't even keep the gear on softcore, nothing. Like, I would just delete the character. I didn't care about it because it wasn't on hardcore anymore. So that's why I don't have any level 100 characters. And, the Harbinger, why can't I say that word? The Harbinger League, I didn't really play that much. I'm actually going to probably be making a video on my sweeper. That's the first character I made in the league, and then I quit when I got to like level 60, and then when I came back, I made this Inquisitor. I made a Frostblades because I wanted to try out Frostblades, and I made a Blade Flurry Templar just to try that out. It was really good. I think it was a build that I've seen a ton of times called the Lazy Pally, and I wanted to try it out because it looks so fun, playing a super tanky, super blocky build. So I finally got to play it enough to really, really sink my teeth into it a little bit. But, I started playing these guys just a couple weeks before the 10-day events, and then, of course, I played the 10-day events, which I got. This guy was in the Turmoil event, and I already deleted my Necro from the Mayhem event because it was a voided league. But yeah, I got to level 83 on this character. Again, I wasn't pushing leaderboards or anything like that. I was just playing and having fun in the Turmoil event. The Mayhem event was insane. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully get a level 100, maybe a couple level 100s in the new league, and I'm gonna hit Abyss pretty hard. It's time I come back to Path of Exile. Even though I'm playing in soft core, I'm still having a blast, and really in soft core it's still pretty detrimental if you die, because you still lose some XP. It's not too bad in these lower levels, but if you die a couple times, it really hurts, because you lose so much XP that's like, oh, now I have to spend my next hour getting back to where I was. And now, especially with the XP nerfs, once you get into like level 95 plus, it's going to be even worse when you die in softcore. And that's one of the things that I always hated in softcore was, it's like, yeah, you die, it's kind of detrimental, but still you just pick yourself up and keep going. But now it's going to make softcore a little bit harder, because now if you die, losing that XP can really hurt you. But we'll see. We'll see what the buffs are like tomorrow. What new buffs they're bringing in. Again, I don't think any of these nerfs. Some people are overreacting. People like to do that a lot. I don't think anything in here is super game breaking. And I really don't think any builds are going to be broken because of this. Most builds are just going to go on the way they have been, just slightly less DPS, really, which isn't really a bad thing because there are some builds that you just like fall asleep at the wheel playing because they're so easy to clear in-game content. Which is why I like playing characters like my sweep character, which you'll see that in a video coming soon. But anyway, that's my take on the nerfs. Nothing too exciting. Nothing too bad, I don't think. But yeah, leave a comment what you think about the nerfs. Leave a comment about what you think I'm doing good or bad, or what you want to see videos of in the future. I'm going to be bringing out some more D2 content, lots of more Path of Exile content, and probably a bunch of other games thrown in the mix because I play tons of games. That's why I haven't been able to focus solely on Path of Exile for a while, but I want to come back this Abyss League and really sink my teeth in. The new Elder stuff looks amazing. The Elder versus Shaper maps. So I'm going to be playing that a lot. Anyway, this video is probably super long. So if you guys like the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and make sure you comment. Let me know what you think of the nerfs, what you think of Path of Exile in general. And thanks guys, I'll see you next time.